the last time that Pluto entered Aquarius, we had the American Revolution and the French Revolution. So this was the 1780s, late 1770s and 1780s. So this is revolutionary energy, right? This is not just, oh, we're going to change a couple things. We're going to, move things around a little bit around the edges. It's like, no, this is big, disruptive, revolutionary energy. The American Revolution happened, the French Revolution happened, and this the image on the left is the cover of the book that I published while I was a professor, The Slumbering Volcano, American Slave Ship Revolts and the Production of Rebellious Masculinity. It's a mouthful, isn't it? And this book, I really looked at the language of natural rights, the language of human rights, and the ways that there was debate inside of the US as it was forming in the 19th century. And what were the debates around the paradox of a democratic republic that was founded on the notion that all men are created equal, right? But then there's also slavery. And there's also exclusions of women, for sure. Right. And so I really wanted to unpack that. And one of the places you could really look at it was the places where there was rebellion, which was why I was looking at slave revolts on ships. And there has been a paradox at the heart of American identity from the very beginning. And so there's been this call for equality, but there's also been massive hierarchy and inequity. And so when Thomas Jefferson downloaded the Declaration of Independence, and I'll show you his chart tomorrow, he has a predominance of the knowing circuit. And he downloaded the Declaration of Independence. It's a document. I still get goosebumps when I read the preamble to the Declaration of Independence. And that's the voice of God speaking, right? It came through Thomas Jefferson, but that was the voice of the divine that was speaking into a context where there had been such massive inequality, so much violence in the name of God for so long, right? That there was this Pluto moves into Aquarius and, right? We need to do things differently. And so, of course, none of this happened immediately. And the Declaration of Independence is aspirational. And we've never fully created a world in which that declaration has become real and manifest. But that assertion that people are created equal was so powerful during that time and in the time that has followed is that liberation movements around the world picked up that declaration and made it their own because there's a resonance to it that we can feel. I get emotional thinking about it. There's a resonance to it that we can feel, that we can still feel, that is stirring in us again because Pluto is back to the same place where he was when all of this was happening. So one thing to understand is that revolution isn't necessarily easy, right? We can do it the hard way. We can do it the easy way. So in my book, Feminine Sovereignty, 8 Pillars for Regenerating Ourselves and Our World, I revisit this history. And if this interests you, I do encourage you to get this and read it and check it out. Many people do not know this. And I think that this is part of what is going to be really coming for us is that the doctrine of natural rights was the first one, natural rights, and then human rights was developed by philosophers in England and France primarily in response to reports of English and French people coming to what's now North America and observing the lives of the indigenous people and thinking to themselves, oh my gosh, these people are so free. Look at them. They don't have so many rules. They can do what they want. They're not living under, the tyranny of royalty and aristocracy. And so the whole understanding that we now have of human rights came from indigenous people in the Americas. Now, this happened in different places, but I just want to mention the Iroquois, which is the name that the French gave to this group of indigenous nations that created the Great Law of Peace. The US Constitution is based on the Iroquois Great Law of Peace. And it has so many, it has checks and balances in it. It has different branches. It's a beautiful document. It's wonderful to go check out. It's in the bibliography of my book. But what the colonists, new American citizens, did not bring into the US Constitution, number one, that it was the Council of Elder Women who chose the chiefs, and that they had a set of criteria that the chiefs needed to adhere to in order to be chosen. And then if they did not continue to adhere to the criteria of what it was their responsibility, then they could be removed and the women could choose a new chief. So they left the women out of the US Constitution. Okay. Then in addition to that, the chiefs, like I said, have a whole set of responsibilities that they are required to adhere to. And so there is a set understanding of what their role is that is focused primarily on their responsibility to their people. Their responsibility is very tribal in that way, the responsibility to the people. And that also didn't really make its way into the US Constitution. And so there's some really big elements of this foundational worldview that document did not include. And I suspect, no one knows, of course, but I suspect that part of what may happen as Pluto moves through Aquarius again is that we will revisit what has not actually been manifest of the promise that came about through the last transit, the promise that all people are created equal, the promise that we can live with each other and support each other to have great lives, and the promise that we can actually step into our role as stewards, because in many indigenous worldviews, they don't talk about rights, they're human rights. They already have that embedded in their understanding of their sovereignty as human beings. What they talk about more is their responsibility to the earth, to the living world, and to the tribe. And I've been seeing more and more people posting about this on social media, and we've been seeing people posting different things, from the Hopi prophecy or the Mayan prophecy, or, whatever it is, right? That this time has been foretold for many, many, many generations. And I suspect that part of what our opportunity is, it will be a challenge as well. But if we choose to step into the role that's being offered to us of being ambassadors of the future, that part of what we're going to be doing is looking at how do we make ourselves more in alignment with this kind of worldview, where we recognize the value, the significance, and indeed our fellowship or our sisterhood with the living world. And that it is our job to help not just protect it, but care for it, right? Truly to be stewards. So, what does Pluto in Aquarius mean for us? Sovereignty of self and the sanctity of community aligned with cosmic consciousness. So, sovereignty of self, right? We hold these truths to be self evident that all men are created equal and they are endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights, right? Sovereignty of self. That is a statement that reverberated around the world, and the world has never been the same since. However, it really didn't get embedded into a more equitable environment. And so we're still needing to work with it, right? In the sanctity of community. So we're needing to look at where is our soul tribe? Who are the people that we are going to connect with during this really revolutionary time, right? We want to be with others who we feel we can connect with. We can be building a new foundation for the world we want to live in and the world that we want to leave to future generations.